I am. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is. I am. Dreadhead Malcolm Little. Sean Carter when he first started. Martin Luther, my veins. Blood thicker than a lean bottle. Prodigy, gotta pardon me. Postpartum deemed all in my genes like a DNA sample. Young thinking that I knew it all. Head bigger than Tisha Campbell. Treat my inner thoughts like they Kyrie. Knew I can.
This Civil Mindset Podcast. And today we're speaking about segregation versus integration. It's Lou and that's B. So let's get to it. What's your opinion about it?
My personal opinion, of course, it was a great thing. We wouldn't have the opportunities that we have if it wasn't for integrating and getting rid of segregation. But at the same time, I think we lost sight of what we wanted as far as integrating. When I say we lost sight in the sense of we didn't keep ourselves, and we wanted more of what white people had than saying, hey, come with us, come to our business, come accept what we have. And there's nothing wrong with having that mindset sometimes, but at the same time it could, a lot of times it backfired because people think because I got what they have, I'm equal, and we already know that's not the case.
That's not the case at all.
Moving into the neighborhoods and a lot of time we move into their neighborhoods and we think, all right, that's it. But in all actuality, it should have been, we move into our neighborhood, and we should do what we got to do to get other of our people in that neighborhood as well.
Agree.
And we never do that because we get there and then that's it.
Yeah, or we get there and they leave. So once they leave the neighborhood, it lose value.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it lose value, let's say it's another black family, they come in and buy. Once the value is depreciated, they still buying it at a high value. They still paying higher rates. They still paying double the mortgage. So it's like, it was like a lose-lose. I feel like the purpose of it, it was not necessarily to create equal, but it was pretty much like, hey, we're gonna give black people the same opportunities as white people in a sense. Mm-hmm. But I feel like that it's kind of contradicting because you can't even say that when you have these backdoor laws like redlining. You know what I'm saying? Or when you discriminate pretty much against like black communities as far as like, oh, they in this zip code, they're not gonna get this credit or this loan or stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So it was like, even though the purpose was to make us equal, but we still technically not equal. Like even in the Constitution, we still 3/5 of a human. Like So.
Yeah, there was many things, and I think when we lost a lot of our leaders. And that's it, like, MLK, Malcolm X, and, guys like that. It kind of messed things up,
Definitely. Then the crack era followed right after that, because we had the Black Panther.
Well, see, before that, you had the heroin,
Yeah.
You had the heroin, and it's always until it hits somebody else of non African, descent, that they'll care. So it was definitely devastating because we viewed it as it's another thing that now we have to fight to beat.
I agree.
It's already bad enough that we wasn't giving generational wealth, like everybody, they took, people view thinking that, we all the same, we all, equal, we all gain it, we all got it from the mud, where it's like, that's not really true, like, because well, one thing that it's crazy, like actually today, Julie was doing a project, and she was doing it for her school, and it was a representation of her family, right? She's Puerto Rican. She had all the things from Puerto Rico and things of her culture and stuff like that. And then she hit me and was like, "What's something that we can put for you for Black culture?" And I had to sit there, and it's crazy to think that you have to really sit there and think and try to. We're really the only race that we really don't know.
We don't.
We really don't know. Like for her, it was quick. Like she's from New York. Her family's from Puerto Rico. They came from the island, and it's all you have all that stuff. They still got all that and traditions and stuff like that. And only thing I have is what I only know growing up. Yeah. And so when they put something to represent, like I don't know what part of Africa my family's really from. I don't know what part, because even if you have those who are Spanish that are African, Hispanic, Afro Latina, they still have that, but as far as African American,
we don't have too
you
much of that.
You only know what your family tell you, and if your family don't really want to talk to you about it or even have the chance to talk to you about it, you only know what my grandma was, what my great grandma was, and then that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
So.
And that's crazy because I want to say maybe like a decade ago, we had a reunion. And so both my father's side and my mother's side, they both from Greenfield, Mississippi when they ended up migrating up or whatever, like in the 50s or whatever. But a decade ago, they did a family tree. And it went pretty far, and it took them years to put it together. They was like doing birth certificates, they was emailing people, even older people, contact, whatever like that. And I just recently got it, but it's such a big picture because they put it on a big board. You can't really see in detail, so the person who has it, it's kind of hard getting in contact with them. Mm-hmm. But it's like, even then, I'm like, well, what tribe are you from? You know what I'm saying? Like, because you only go so far, because it's like doing those times, doing slavery and stuff, they didn't really have birth certificates. They really didn't have a full name or where they from. Yeah. They've been sold. They don't know, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, and that's like, for us, I want to say that's one of the most hardest things. It's like, because when you talk to people, they know their customs, they know traditions, and for us now, you start to see a lot of Black people become spiritual and getting into like the Yoruba religion, all these different things, and it's like we're trying to find our way back, but it's still so hard because it's been so long and so many disconnects in so many eras. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, it's tough, and I think when it comes to going back to integrating, it wasn't, they couldn't accept it, but they didn't want to accept it, but it was forced. So it's like one of those things where the crazy thing about it is that there's still people alive right now who was a part of that and still thought that was wrong, that we shouldn't have integrated. But there's also white people that feel that way, but there also were some Black people that feel that way because they felt like we stopped going to the Black businesses, and
we stopped Black businesses.
A lot of Black businesses lost a lot because of it. And I know everybody goes back to the Tulsa riot, and
yes.
Go to
the Renaissance, all the things where we were like successful Black communities.
And I think that is a part of how we lost a lot, but at the same time we also lost a lot because we ourselves stopped going that direction of all right, I'm gonna still shop at the same store I've been shopping at. Now you change your mind because you feel like this store over here got more stuff and you can go over there, so you wanna because you wanna go over there, you do it. Agreed. And we lost a lot because of us, and we still kind of do that today.
We do it a lot. We was just talking about materialistic stuff yesterday, and it's like it's starting to be more and more Black-owned businesses, but oftentimes we get this couple of dollars in our pocket, or whatever, and we go, to these white-owned business, and we spend break bread with them.
The thing about when it comes to the black business thing, what we do a lot, we wait until see how it goes.
Oh yeah.
Instead of just being like, if you go and say like, hey, I'm about to start a new clothing line. Hey man, I appreciate, if you want to buy something, I'm starting up, whatever. A lot of time, because it's your own brand, they don't consider it name brand.
Yeah.
And so
it's not a big
name. Like if somebody go and say, yo, I'm gonna start me an athletic wear line, but you ain't Nike, you ain't Adidas, you ain't Reebok, so be like, oh, okay, but and then next thing you know is when you have somebody black that's now he's growing up, now all of a sudden you want to buy it.
Want to give him his roses
like nah man, like anytime I got friends that's starting something up, like then and there, like I'm trying, I got you, you know what I'm saying? Because
it's hard.
It's hard, yeah. Like I can never see myself in like turn. If my brother was to start something, if I was to start something, in the future, my wife wants to start, open her own daycare. How I look, not doing what I want people to do. Like my when she starts her daycare, of course I'm gonna want people to come and support. I want we can get the business going. Yeah. But if I'm not doing the same, how I'm gonna get mad at people,
Yeah, how you gonna bring that foot traffic if you not support?
But I think that's really the biggest thing, because you look at, when Asians, when they start something up, but
it's a
they there, it's community, Jewish, all like Italians, Irish, they start a pub, like
they all in there.
They in there, and we the only ones where let's wait and see.
Yeah, let's wait and see. Or we do the other thing where we feel like, it's black owned, let's ask for a discount. That's another huge thing. Yeah. It's like, I already got it hard. You already know you can't come here for a discount.
Yeah.
Like, you my first customer. How you gonna ask for 30% off already? That's another thing. And then it's like,
and it ain't made yet. So if you can have the same looking shoe or shirt, it looks the same as Gucci, but because it ain't Gucci. The materialistic thing is a huge thing, and a lot of that has to do like we said before, like, I want to get what I couldn't get.
Yeah, it's all about acceptance.
And there's nothing wrong with wanting to, if you got a goal, if that's your goal, like you want to have, but it's very upsetting.
No, it is. Did you see that thing? Killer Mike had he had a series on Netflix. And
Trigger One.
Yeah, and one of his episodes, he was like, I'm just gonna do black home everything.
Yeah.
And it was so hard for
him. It was crazy.
Crazy hard.
It was crazy. I watched that, and I'll never forget that. I will never. Yeah. I still think about it a lot. Like it's many times that I think about it a lot, because just to think how much we really don't have.
We don't have.
We really don't. and you have to go so in depth of research.
Yeah.
But I will say this: once you do find it, it's up to you to continue to support. Because there's a lot of people who say like, "Well, I can't find this. I can't find it." It's too easy with this technology world, technology world. It's too easy to not find things like right now, like the soap I bought is black owned, and then you find out Target actually has a section
for
black owned stuff. Yes. I found out that Kobe had his own soap. Soap and deodorant and stuff like that. But it's called Compete. Okay. I let people know. I posted it on on Facebook because I was, letting people know like, hey, they're out there. You just got to be willing to look. There's and Target got a bunch of them. They got black coffee. Taraji has one. Tracy Ellis Ross.
Yes.
There's a lot out there. It's up to us to go do it, to go get it.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily like when you come to support, you don't even have the money. You don't have to pay for something to support. You can just simply share, word of mouth, network, and that's the biggest way to market anything. I feel like we don't do that. But yeah, I feel like when it came to like segregation, integration, the point of it was good intention, but again, it was also forced. So like you forcing two different cultures to be under one roof, and we see, and that's kind of similar to like the projects. The whole purpose of projects was to force these different people from different communities in one building, and they from different, not necessarily different walks of life. They always black, but they got ties to certain different morals and street codes, and now you want them all in one roof. That's just like letting the match on gasoline right there. So it's like with segregation and integration, you trying to force blacks to be in these, black people to be in these white schools and white, predominantly white businesses, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like if that was something to be done, it should have been voluntarily. Like for integration, they should have maybe approached it a little different. Like gave us different opportunities where we can make it for ourselves to become equals. You know what I'm saying? You can't pretty much say, hey, you're an equal.
that was the thing. It was that they told us like, okay, you can do this and you can do that. You can come here, you can come there.
Yeah.
But it was never like, all right, we're gonna do something for y'all so that way we can come to y'all.
Right.
Because let's be honest, that narrative of being scared to go in a black neighborhood and stuff, that didn't really come over time until we didn't have nothing. That started from not having anything. It wasn't. It had robbing and things like that. Like a lot of time it's more now because we don't have anything. We don't have nothing. So and you can't, as messed up as it sounds, you can't rob white people, because you rob white people, you really gonna get it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? As messed up as it sounds, Pookie can rob Ray Ray.
Yeah.
And then we get so, afraid.
Yeah.
That a lot of times they get ignored.
Yeah, it does.
It gets ignored. But like let Pookie go and rob, Sam or Catherine, like in that neighborhood.
In there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different.
He ain't gonna make it out.
Oh no, but even then, I feel like that was kind of like an excuse to say, for white people to say, from my point of view, for white people to say, they were scared to come to black neighborhoods, because at that time, we seen so much when they watered us down with water hose, all these different things.
Yeah,
we were scared of them. We not going to
exactly.
Harm.
It was no way that our neighborhood was considered bad until integrating, until segregation started going away, because what was there for them to be scared of?
Right.
What was they afraid in the 50s, the 40s, 50s, 60s for a white person to go into a black neighborhood?
Yeah, because a lot of times they would move to the side. You know what I'm saying? Black people,
exactly. So that whole thing changed, and I think it was on purpose to make it, to find another reason to belittle us.
In a sense, because then we start. Once we start seeing we have black business, we have black customers, because that's all that's going to come to our community, and that's the only way we can go, the only places we can go. So it's like once the integration has started, we want to still support us. White people want to come support us and stuff like that. We just like, we can go over here, and we feel in acceptance. We feel like we equal to them. We feel a little bit more worth. But that wasn't the point. We should never stop supporting ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was a big thing. But then when I think about it, I'm like, is segregation, separation, is it a difference between the two? And when I think about it, when it comes to separation, I feel like when you're like a separate community, I think about like the Amish people. They their own community. They make their own politics, their own groceries. They make their own way of life, source of energy, utilities, communication, whatever the case may be, they have their own system. But when you talk about segregation, you talking about this is done purposely. You know, hey, look, y'all in this community, y'all stay over there type stuff. That wasn't a choice. That was pretty much forced. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wasn't forced to be separate, you know? And so I feel like when it comes to, like, the Renaissance of, yeah, it was segregated, but at the same time, it was separation because they was able to prevail as a black community as a whole. So, yeah, I think segregation and separation, I feel like it's one of those things where it's kind of the same, but it's really not.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I even watched this thing with Malcolm X, and he was speaking about, you know, how integration was forced, and basically how it was forced for people to come together, and it actually made, like, the whole racism discrimination part, it made it worse. You know what I'm saying? Because now it made white people feel like they were somewhat threatened by us coming over there, and then stuff like that. Because, you know, now it's like, okay, our political, economic, all these things are kind of in jeopardy because now we have you all around. And it should never even been that type of mindset. But hey, that was back then, you know, their mindset was different than what it is now. But it was definitely forced.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. We talking about 1954 board, you know, Brown versus Board. So it was like, yes, it's pretty. Yeah, and then even now we still kind of we see it a lot because, you know, when you look at private schools and public schools, majority of the people that are in public schools are black people. Majority of the people that are in private schools are like other ethnicities. You know what I'm saying? They able to get in good colleges, you know, and not necessarily say have good careers because it's proven that 80% of the people who graduate don't have their dream career or their degree, but they still have that opportunity. Compared to public schools where we have a lot of, first of all, the teachers, the employers, they are underfunded. They not getting the type of money that they should be. They not getting paid what they should be. So that right there, it's like I gotta come to work, you know, teach on this little paycheck and probably babysit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Discipline or whatever the case may be. And then you talking about like they books, they old, you know what I'm saying? Or the curriculum is old, it's outdated. So that right there, that's another issue. And we still see that today. So, but even then, when we were segregated and it came to like education, we still had the hand-me-down books and stuff like that, but we had different type of teachers. We had us teaching us. So we not just teaching, you know, the material, but we also teaching ourselves the value to survive out there.
Yeah, like this type of subject, man, and honestly, it's one of those subjects too where I really would like to hear from a white person's perspective. Like,
I agree.
You know, because we can talk about it all day, but it's one of those conversations where it's not too many white people you can really meet that will really break down this subject because, you know, a lot of them, you know, a lot of people, it's so many times you talk and in their mind, they're like, oh, you know, when you hear that, you know, what you got to complain about? Like, you know, we've had a black president, you know, like that. Yeah. And
out of how many though?
Yeah. It's definitely, that'll probably be a really hard conversation to have because some people feel like, okay, just because we're not in 1955 that everything is okay.
I got you. But it's kind of, so I want to say it's two white guys that I had like conversations with as far as like we talk about like police brutality, different stuff like that, and they outlook, it wasn't necessarily like, you know, oh, they did something, they didn't. They look at each situation different, and it wasn't like they were open-minded. They weren't just like, oh, this is the way, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't like they were like political or anything like that. It was just like talking to another person. So that would be definitely something I'm looking into because, I mean, from their perspective, we don't know how they felt, you know, how they felt like for us to come to them. Did they really feel like they was targeted, you know, things like that?
Yeah. And it's crazy how. So once we was no longer slaves, how was it that we went from not knowing anything, being considered dumb, slaves or whatever, not knowing nothing, to once we were free, we were trouble, and we were we was this and we were that.
It's just like oppression.
Yeah, like it's but it's just like what made some click to be like, you know what? Why do I dislike black people? Why do I why do we feel like, you know what I'm saying?
But a lot of them was taught to hate us and never taught why. You know what I'm saying? So once you're at a certain age, you're stuck in your ways. You're not wondering why. You know what I'm saying? This is just what it is.
But there's a few who grew up being taught that, and then they decided like, why?
Yeah.
Like, why do I? Or they meet somebody that changed them. Like yeah, like because like there's some people who grew up with had a black nanny or black maid and stuff, and a lot of times they pretty much was like the mother figure for them.
Yeah.
But then they get older and then they still end up turning into what.
Yeah.
Like
they still learn to hate.
Yeah, and still look down on them and stuff, and so it's one of those like you wonder.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, so once we got freed or whatever like that, it was a point in time when we got freed, and we was granted that we would get the land back that we were working on, but then they kind of just treat us like humans, and you're technically property, you can't really own land, all this extra stuff. So of course they took it back. But outside of that, it's like once we got free, just like what you gonna do? You're not technically a slave, but hey, I'm gonna give you this house, and you're gonna stay in the same house you was when you were a slave. You're still gonna work for me, but you're just free, cause I'm gonna give you that to live rent free, so you don't have to pay me to stay here long as you work. So it's like even after that, once we end up moving or migrating, or people who did stay, I felt like we was always inferior, even throughout slavery. So I feel like that whole point of being, scared of us, just feeling like, like we was targeting them, like we was causing them harm, I think that all come from slavery. Straight up. I don't think it was something that, now we free, now they're the bad people. I feel like they always looked at us like that.
Yeah, it's a killer, man, because I think if we would have had our leaders, that I don't feel nobody say it was a plan. A lot of those were planned murders.
Oh, I agree.
Like
most dangerous person is an educated black person.
Yeah,
definitely.
So you think about somebody like Fred Hampton that don't get talked about a lot.
Oh, he
was 21 years old, and I think what made Fred so scary was that he was only 21 years old.
Yeah, he was young and conscious.
And then not only was he getting black people, he was getting Asian people, Hispanic people, white people, like really like being like, yo, we do need to make some changes.
Yeah.
And
then just to even organize.
Like, and he never came crazy. Like he was just he was a leader, like, and I think that was one of the things that freaked a lot of people out, because you could get be a black leader and get other black people to stand, but then when you get other races, like that was the thing, with that he was getting other races to come on board, and that freaked out.
Yeah. Because people gonna fear what they don't understand. That's why you young, you have organized black people with guns. You know what I'm saying? Y'all not in the streets creating chaos. Y'all in the streets protecting yourself from the chaos, but making a statement. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
and I think like if it wasn't for him being so powerful, like he was powerful. Like
definitely.
It was very crazy to. Once I learned about him, and when I found out, because you just hear like, oh, he was a Black Panther, leader.
Yeah, that's
But
what
then you find out like it wasn't just black people. He was
getting everybody
he's
involved.
getting everybody involved, and the story don't make sense.
But do it ever make sense though? But do it, and that's what I said. I feel like as far as like when it comes to segregation, integration, when it comes to like a lot of different things, it's all about the government. You know what I'm saying? I feel like their purpose is to keep us divided. You know what I'm saying? That's the purpose, to maintain chaos.
Look what we doing. Look what we dealing with now, and it's so crazy because we let pretty much two parties control this country.
Yeah, the world, honestly.
Yeah, like. We have people. The thing is, we have other parties, but everybody is so stuck. Like, this is who I want to go with. Like, it's crazy. Like on social media, like seeing, like, they is one or the other. That people are bickering for one or the other.
Yeah.
And you hearing people like, I know, I really don't, but it's the lesser two evil. Then why are you picking that then?
Yeah. So that's
if you don't feel that there's somebody else better. Then we need to push that. We need to push somebody else.
No, I agree.
But we don't, and that's why I get mad at people who, when I speak on, trying to get better with, us, like, coming together, making changes and wanting better for black people and Hispanics and, everybody tell me like, you got a lot of people who will argue that, but then I'm like, but you're stuck with only picking
these two people.
Not even that. Like you only gonna go with this person because he's a part of your political party.
Agree.
But you gonna get mad at me for saying like for wanting change.
Agree.
If you want to change, you don't have to be that because that's what you consider your political party to be.
No, I agree. But then you got a lot of times people who want to pick outside of that, either Democrats or Republicans. It's hard to pick outside of that because once the majority pick, you're not having like a liberal. You're not having none of those people from the other parties. You know what I'm saying? So these are your only two options. Mm-hmm. So with me, with this next election, when it comes to voting, as far as the presidential vote, I don't speak too much on that. But what I am going to do and doing now is that you can look on your voter registration card, see the district and all that other stuff because it's more than just the president. I feel like a lot of times people forget, you got your alderman, your governor, your mayor, you got all these different people. Sheriff, judge, all these different people, like, and it's like, we lose sight of who else to vote for because it's only televised just the president, mm-hmm. and they have some control, but we've seen it with Obama. You don't have that much control. Mm-hmm. Your main control is the military. You know what I'm saying? That you can deploy whatever like that, but everything else, it has to go through houses, it has to go through everybody else to get approved. Mm-hmm. So why not the bigger change is at the lower levels, you know what I'm saying?
I think, another change we need to do is if a president can only do 2 terms, that should be for every political position.
Oh, because some of them it's continuous.
It's continuous because the only time they show a little care, a little change, and do a little that is always around election time.
Oh, yeah.
But I think if they know that they only got that short period of time, either they not going to run, or they're gonna have to take care of it.
Take it serious.
Because you don't want to be known for that person that ain't do nothing for your terms in the Senate or in the House or as governor or sheriff or. So if you go and be like, yo, you only can get your max is 2 terms. Yeah,
because now you gotta hit the ground.
And then also that makes other political people to. Now, if you want to get into politics and you want to be about, because a lot that's the biggest thing is that they say they want something different. But it's hard to want different if you know that you ain't got a chance to win. Yeah. Like somebody that's been there for forever. Like it took my hometown forever to get a new sheriff because everybody just like, all right, fuck it,
Yeah, we know them, we used to them. It is what it is.
Yeah, like. Instead, like, hey, nah, man, like, we need somebody new in here. Like, we need to see, like, what, let's see what's going on,
Yeah.
But if you I think if you take, you only get 2 terms. I think one, people going to decide when they're going to run, and also I think they will have to they will have to make the changes and do things, because if you don't, good luck trying to.
But I feel like when it comes to becoming a politic and stuff like that, your answers, just listen to the people. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're from that community or that city, you've been there. Not necessarily you lived the same situations or experiences they went through, but you definitely was there. Like, you may witness somebody, word of mouth, whatever. So it's like, why it's so hard for you to be like, oh, I don't know exactly what I want to change. But now you see with the presidential election, all these other stuff, the black people's going to do this. We're going to do this for the black people and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, now back then we would like, oh, they said they're going to do this for us because those are things we seeking. You know what I'm saying? We would have voted for them. But now it's like we seen it too much where they say, oh, we're going to do this and nothing ever changes. So it's like, you just talking. Yeah,
like I used to have the same mindset, and don't get me wrong, I still feel, we ourselves got to make some changes too. But at the same time, it's hard for us to try to make changes when we ain't getting no help. And yes, we do, the black community, Hispanic community, the minority community, we got to be able to want to make them changes too. But we also got to understand too that we was given a raw deal.
No, we definitely was.
Cause in my mind, I'm like, people I grew up with, I'm like, why they didn't turn out like me? I used to, as I was, younger, like when I, joined the Navy, decided to join it, like to have that mindset. I'm like, why people don't have that mindset? Like, you know what? I don't want to grow up the way, I did, or, I don't want to do this or do that. And that goes back to the whole situation of when I said that, when it comes to integrating, it was that was really the big thing. Is like when we was able to go into them stores and stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of us did. Like a lot of people did feel like, yo,
we made it. Yeah.
We can vote. We can vote. Like, and we never thought like, maybe we need to do more.
Yeah.
For us.
We do, and I feel like even now, I feel like we definitely have more opportunities. In the way I look at it, like back then, like we talked about Baldwin the other day, and how he already had like things under his belt, being black, being a gay man, and especially during those times, and he made a way through. And then you got Nina Simone made a way through. We got these powerful black people that made a way through, and they had way less than us. You know what I'm saying? They had trauma that they couldn't deal with. Like now we have access to deal with those things, but I feel like now it's still a lot of stuff that we don't have opportunities, like as far as like credit card loans, business loans, all different things. Like when it comes to us, we're more discriminated against, but at the same time, it's nothing wrong with 20 black people. Hey, we need 100,000. Let's all invest. This interest.
So speaking of that too, which one thing I hate is when they be like, oh, that the whole color thing don't matter, that don't matter. Definitely. So then why on job applications, why on tests you gotta put what you are?
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta put what you are, because if you gotta do that, why do you think you gotta do that?
Right. Because
that way when they do the screening, they can determine if we want to hire you or not.
Exactly.
Because if that didn't matter, if all you go by is just your credentials, because like why I didn't get that job, what made me not qualified, and then you find out that somebody who's less than you get the job, but you know why? It's because of what you checked on that.
Yeah. Even your zip code. Oh, you from that area? Oh, we know what's over there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But, and I feel like that's what started the whole crabs in a barrel mentality. You know what I'm saying? Because back then it was like, okay, now we integrate, okay, they only going to hire 1 or 2 black people. Because it's written in the...
yeah, you saw on was it Lovecraft Country? You saw...
No, so it's crazy because Marshall Fields, my mama actually worked there at the warehouse back when I was younger. And it was a real big thing in the big Marshall Fields, which is now it's Macy's. You know, Macy's bought them out. But even then, like my mama, she ended up moving up again to supervisor position, and it took her time. And she was letting me know, young, like, you know, you gotta work 10 times as hard. It ain't easy out here, especially being a black woman. You know, things like that. But it's definitely like that. You know, you can only get, because when you open up a business, LLC, corporation, whatever the case may be, once you have a certain amount of employers, you have to abide by the equal opportunity law. That law only gives you a certain amount of percentage of other ethnicities to hire. And that's not just hiring 10% of just, you know, other ethnicity. That could be 10% of the ethnicity, sexuality, their religion. So you have 2 or one or two of each or other.
And that's the game that gets played, because they do it where, as messed up as it sounds. I don't like knocking, because I don't want to go at, you know, one struggle is greater than the other, but like a Jew is considered a minority. So if most Jews most Jews are European, you know, white, you know, so when they say like, oh nah, that they make the quota, you know, or you get a white woman instead of a black man.
Right.
You know, you make that quota. So it's definitely, but it's there. It goes again where we're like, we want to work there. We want to work there. We want to work there, instead of these black people like, yo, let's start our own thing. Coming together and start our own thing, instead of like, yo, let's try to work.
But it's all about the mindset, because when it's black people, I feel like we already feel like we defeated, like we're not going to make it, we're not going to be successful. So once you put that in your mind, you're not going to be as eager, you're not going to really go out there and go get it, because you already defeated. Like, what am I wasting my time for?
And I always tell this, I never want anybody to get it twisted. There were a lot of great white people who opened doors for us, who wanted to accept, you know, hey, I'm on board with you. And there's nothing wrong with having like Jordan, you know, even though Jordan got his own brand, he's still in Nike. But Nike gave him that opportunity to where it's still his. You know, and just like with Diddy with Bad Boy, and you know, Jay-Z with Rockefeller, Jay-Z and Dame with Rockefeller, and Dr. Dre with Interscope, and you know, like,
you got those opportunities.
Like you have to, you know, seize the opportunity that's given to you, but you have to gotta capitalize on that opportunity.
I think that's
so. There's nothing wrong with if another company can, you know, back you up to get you started, to get your own. Just know, like, when you do, make sure you bring other on, you know, you bring others around, you know, along. That's the big thing. Is that if just like that opportunity is given to you, you gotta be willing to give the opportunity back. But don't just give it to them. You have somebody like LeBron. You see what LeBron did.
His friends on.
He brought it, but he didn't just give it to him. He let them earn it, and then, like, once they did, you like look at them like they all winning. Yeah,
but I feel like that's another thing with us black people. We feel like once somebody get on, you owe us. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you know, I was there, this and such. Or even if you was there, like, what are you doing? If I get on and I want you to become my accountant, I can't just say, hey, you my accountant.
Right.
Like, you need to get, like, not necessarily, like, well, pretty much, you got to get qualified to be an accountant, because you still got my money. You know what I'm saying? So at the same time, I'm making money, but you also making money, but we both qualified at what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? I can't just put you on because I got it, because it's just not, that's just not how life works. If I keep giving and giving, we see that all the time. People go broke giving and giving because the hand that's taken, they're expecting it with no work, no effort. So, and that right there cripples us too, because we can't be entitled when we don't have much. I think that's the biggest thing. So when it comes to, like, segregation and integration, like, I'm not gonna lie. I was for segregation, but it's not necessarily even segregation. I'm more for separation. You know what I'm saying? Where not that we forced to be apart and we drinking out of different water fountains. I'm not with all that. I totally disagree with that. That was my biggest thing that I got from the integration, where we could all be in one place and not that I have to go across the street or whatever the case may be. But I feel like when it comes to separation, we feeding our own. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, the Amish, they a community, they taking care of their own. So when it comes to this, I feel like today, that's why I say black people, it's us black people, we make excuses, because it's easy, and a lot of times in our mindset, we already defeated. So it's like, why even try?
And the crazy thing is that I feel like the only three black business, that I only see consistently thrive, that we able to get our own to participate is barbershop, strip club, and the clubs. Like you can put, if you want to put strip club together, but like I feel like those are the only ones that would thrive. Like you hardly ever see like a black clothing store, or black coffee shop, or like you might have
you got the onesies twosies, but it's not like an industry of it. But I feel like, so to add, because
even with the restaurants, like and most time if it is a restaurant, it's one of those like passed down restaurants, like like an Aunt Sue's restaurant that that's generation past.
I got you.
But as far as like just being able to just start up a business, like get a business going and stuff, it's rare.
Well, I kind of disagree, because now I feel like it's way more black-owned restaurants. But not even just black-owned restaurants. Like, it's not a lot of black-owned storefronts, but it's a lot of black-owned designers. Like, they sell online commerce. But also, even then, when you talk about barbershops, those were our safe havens. And they still are. Strip clubs and clubs, I mean, black people, we live fine,
We do, but I feel like that's the only avenue that once it's on, like,
it's no going back.
It's no going back. But like, I just look at because even like you think about the old school daycares, like when you grew up, those a lot of those are going away. Like they getting pushed out. Like you had the older ladies that that would have their own little home daycare, and they would have like 40, 50 kids. You know what I'm saying? And that's going away. Everybody's moving to those them chains, like like the what you got,
I know what you're talking
Kinder
about.
Care and
stuff like that. Or even the apps where you just pull somebody up and have somebody come watch your kids at your house. But that also comes with convenience. But that's what I was talking about like the other day with the weed industry. I feel like that's a huge business.
Which is another robbery, because we was doing that for years, and there's still people in jail, in prison right now for that. People that has that's on parole or that's on probation for that, and now you think about it's legal. If you somebody that lives in Colorado, California, live in that whole West Coast where it's legal now,
but you still locked up.
You still on probation. You can't even vote because of something that's legal now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like
even just being it's just like one of those things where you a child, you do something wrong, your mama pop, your pops pop, you whatever, keep it moving. When you an adult and you make a mistake and you go to jail like a felony, you lose, everything. You can't vote, you can't get certain housing. It's a lot of stuff you can't get, and it's like you already telling me it's over with. Like, that's not a second chance. You know what I'm saying? You got all these halfway houses. You could do this. You could get a job. But it's like I still got to go through you. And, I can get a job and I can make more than what I was making. But if I want a career out of something, I got to use somebody else's name.
And that's the thing. That's the other thing, too, that you brought that up, that I think integrating hurt, was that it broke up a lot of black families.
Definitely.
Because...
That's the acceptance, because now I'm finna go talk to old girl, I'm finna go talk to old boy, you know what I'm saying? And then before that you do that, you already know the consequences of that. So That wasn't even worth the risk.
Yeah, like you see where some people they wanted it, and I've heard this said that, you know, heard some older black men said that they wanted to be with a white girl because of the fact that you wasn't allowed to.
Oh yeah, I heard that too.
You know, like, because it was something that you can't have, and I'm just like,
it was like a chase game.
yeah, like it was just like that was another validation of with that same thing I got what I couldn't have.
Right.
And I feel like if that's the reason that, because I believe love is love, you know, but if that's your reason of why you want to be with them, that's so messed up.
Yeah, that's psychological messed up. Like,
yeah,
that's not even. It's not the fact that you love them, you're attracted to them. It's the fact, oh, somebody never had, you know. And then you look down on the people who's not into that. You know, they like, no, you know, I'm gonna stay with my black queen or whatever like that. And you looking down on them like
and that's the craziest thing in the world is that I've seen so many people get condemned for saying black women only or black love, you know, support black love, and it's like,
yeah,
like
that irritates me, especially me, because like me personally, I tell people all the time, with my job, with our job, whatever like that, we around different people, and I be like, you know, oh, look at white women like that. It's not nothing against them, but I love my black queen, especially me being a black woman, but it's different, you know what I'm saying? I can relate to you. Not only that, it's just black love. It's love that I would never be able to find nowhere else. It's nothing like a black woman. So I'm not gonna seek that somewhere else. Like I need that energy. You know what I'm saying? I need all of that.
And it's hard to find somebody that of a different race that can relate. And I'll take that away. Of course, they can't relate because they're not, but they're not willing to understand what comes with
being black,
being with somebody that is black, like knowing that just because I'm with you, that doesn't remove the fact that I can still get pulled over just because I'm, you know, in a nice neighborhood in a nice car and I'm black.
Right. Or
you know, or you know, way. People looking at us a certain way because we're together.
Yeah.
You know.
And then back then, it's like, you know, if you are an interracial couple, they pulling you over and they acting black. They, you know, terrorizing a black person, acting a white person. Are you safe? Are they doing this to you? Blah blah blah. Like, and that's crazy right there. And even like now, if we get pulled over, I know me and my girl black. Hey, I feel the same way you feel. We already know. You know what I'm saying? So. Even that, but when you talk about black love and all this other stuff, you start thinking about family. Another big issue is infant mortality amongst black people. Now that's crazy. And I feel like when I look at a lot of times in hospitals, there are a decent amount of black nurses, but it's not a lot of black doctors. And for me, that's why I want a home birth. I'm cool with a doula, me and my people, you know what I'm saying? Because I know I'm in better hands. I'm cared for more, you know? So that's another issue. Like, we can't, I feel like when it comes to that.
A lot of that has to do with finance, though.
Finance, healthcare, all that stuff.
Yeah, because, you know, it's kind of hard because, you know, it's a lot of money to pay to go to medical school, you know?
I agree.
That's why a lot of time it goes to nursing and it stops there because financially, man, it's a lot of money, you know.
It is.
And
thousands of dollars.
Yeah, so when we do see it, that's why it's like, man, like, and a lot of times, as messed up as it sounds, if there's a black doctor and then usually if there's another black doctor, 9 times out of 10 is usually a generational thing where, you know, my dad was a doctor, my grandpa was a doctor, where it could be afforded, you know, and it sucks because it's so many opportunities, but at the same time everything really comes back to wealth. And I really think
that's a huge debt.
That's the biggest thing, another thing that held us back when we integrated, because, you know, we had the first doctor to do open heart surgery, you know, but it would have never you know, we didn't capitalize on it.
Nah, we didn't.
You know, and I think we probably would have if, you know, we would have stayed. If we would have stayed when we integrated and got, you know, tried to, you know, get rid of segregation.
If we would have stayed in the same mindset to help ourselves the same way when we was segregated.
Because we had no choice at that time. So we didn't have no choice. So we did everything that we could, you know, where, you know, being a doctor and, you know, have your own law firm and doctor's office and all that. But it was like once we didn't have to do that no more, that's when everybody bailed, because it was like, oh shit, we can go move here where there's a factory there. We'll just move here and go, you know, move there so we can, you know, get a job. And
that's the only thing. I feel like the whole mindset behind our decisions when we did integrate, like we forgot about us. You know, we was like, oh, we moving in, you know, we moving up. But when I talk about like infant mortality, credit, loans, all these different stuff, there are Black-owned banks. You know what I'm saying? But the thing about it is, it's like one of them contradicting things, because it's like, sometimes they don't have the same interests as the big banks that's owned by the white people. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if I put my money there, it's not going to accumulate a lot of interest. Like when you think about APY, you know what I'm saying? The certificates, your IRAs and stuff like that, you get interest over time. Black banks, sometimes their percentage are low compared to the white-owned banks, but they're also not funded. You know what I'm saying? So that's the disadvantage. So then that's gonna move you more to not going with them. And then as far as like infant mortality or anything with healthcare and stuff like that, it's a big disadvantage because we don't have that healthcare, or we don't have jobs that give us that benefit of having good healthcare and so on. But for us, I feel like back then we didn't have it in, but we seek that in ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I feel like we need to go back to that. Whether it's a doula, whatever like that, you don't even have to go to school, but it's certificates and license that you can get. And even like for groceries and produce, we in a time where we can plant our own gardens. Like we need to start depending on ourselves and stop depending on them. So I feel like there are resources.
And that goes back to that Killer Mike episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really would tell people to go watch that. Go watch Killer Mike's Trigger Warning. Like that is something that a lot of people in general, not just Black people, just people in general should watch, because it's very that, and watching the 13th.
Oh yeah, the 13th definitely.
Because that was a big thing too. The 13th Amendment, let's be honest, that was made for us. It was created for us.
Yeah.
Because it was something else. This country wasn't made for us.
Even though we built it.
Yeah. It wasn't made for us. Like, you think about the Constitution wasn't written for us.
No, it wasn't.
And I laugh because, nobody can ever say, I don't care what nobody says, I say this all the time, Black people are the greatest Americans.
Black people are the greatest.
We're the greatest Americans because despite this country not being made for us, we're here.
We still surviving.
We still here, and we still love this country even when it don't love us back. So that's why when I say, and a lot of people get offended when I say that we're more American than anybody, like we're more American than any other race. It's because of that, because this country wasn't made for us, and yet we're still here.
Yeah, we are.
You know, and nobody can change my mind, like straight up. No, like everything, we still like. And what people don't understand is like we're not asking for more.
No.
We just asking for be equal, being fair.
Yeah, just being fair. But that's my thing. I'm done with the asking. I'm at the point of taking it. You know what I'm saying? If I have to create my own, whatever the case may be, then that's what I gotta do. And that's why I say, as far as Black people, we need to. You got a group of friends, your circle. Hey, invest in each other. You know what I'm saying? Because once y'all get put on, y'all can put other people on. You know what I'm saying? Like we need to like you said, we not asking for nothing. We've been asking so long. It's like we in demand now.
Yeah.
We need that.
And if it takes for you, as Minister was saying, if it takes for you to, like, say if you want to own a McDonald's or a Chick-fil-A or a Subway, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that because, yes, there's a third party,
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's yours.
It is.
Only thing, that's when I tell people, like, if you want to start something, it don't necessarily have to be from the ground up yours, like from, making your own thing. If you want to open, a McDonald's or a Chick-fil-A or, a Subway or,
it's already established.
It's already established.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's still yours.
Yes,
and as long as you're doing everything you're supposed to do, they can't take that from you.
No, they can't.
And so that's why, we just got to be, because sometimes our pride can get in the way too.
We are very prideful. We are very prideful. But I mean, I feel like a lot come with that too, because it's like, we did so much, we deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I have every reason to be prideful. Because we overcame so much and still are. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Civil Mindset Podcast. Lou and Biggie.
Hey, Bevel is a black-owned company.
Hey.
You can find in Target. That everybody want to shop black. That's one right there.
Yeah.
Same as Art of Sports, created by Kobe, the late great Kobe Bryant.
There's a lot of them.
So
I'm gonna actually post a couple lists on my page. So stay tuned.
Good.